Calais Campbell, defensive end, and he's with us here on Tiki and Tierney. Calais, how you doing, buddy?
Man, life is good. I can't complain.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, we're talking about Amazon.
How's that Garoppolo tape coming along? That's who you played in week 1. You got to be happy about that, right? Honestly.
Oh, yeah, look at my chops, man. You get a rookie quarterback pretty much. It's always exciting when you get a guy like that, for his first game because he's going to be nervous. He's probably going to be sitting there, holding the ball a little longer or trying to get rid of it quick, throwing bad balls and stuff. So, as a vet, we definitely pride ourselves on and welcoming rookies the right way.
It's interesting when people ask you this question. I'm sure you'll get it because you are playing the Patriots the first game of the season about Tom Brady. But I think a larger issue is what Tom Brady is fighting for. Do current players have an opinion on what he's standing for, which is basically not having Roger Goodell have judge, jury, executioner power?
Yeah, we try to, stick together and, and understand what the issues are around the NFL and stuff, but it's just kind of it's a balance. You definitely understand that when things go wrong, there has to be discipline, and then when things, you don't want it to be too much so where one person can have all the power. But it's just a process, man. The new CBA, created different avenues, and there's definitely some things that we have to look forward going to the next CBA that we need to adjust.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that's the only way to address it. And the court, decisions that Tom Brady is having, it makes for headlines, but it doesn't really solve anything. Let's get to this show, Amazon's All or Nothing. Now, I just started watching a little bit of this, really just watching it on my smartphone in the break. But it feels that you guys didn't know that this was going on, and I read that. Did you guys know that they were making a movie about your 2015 season?
Nah, really, Mr. Bidwell stepped in the meeting and said we're going to document the season, and that's all it was. That we're just going to document so there'll be some extra cameras. That's all we heard about it, and then we kind of just went on to playing football and kind of forgot the cameras were there. And then you look back, months later, and then now you have this great show that's on TV. Really was a great show.
Yeah, no, it looks like it because it's access, and we've seen Hard Knocks and things of that nature, but that's just for the preseason, and who knows how, edited it is to make it dramatic. But this follows you guys for the whole season. What are we going to learn about your team from watching this show?
Really just how many good guys we have on the team. I really got to take my hat off to Steve Keim and his staff because our team is stacked with just top-quality guys who really love the game and approach it the right way, but also are really just good guys outside of football. And with this show, you get inside the locker room and outside the locker room, which is really good.
We're talking to Calais Campbell for the Cardinals, and he's with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Calais, I want to ask you this. As you well know, you just flip on the news for one day, and the news cycle, it's terrifying. There's a lot going on in our country, let alone the world, and we've heard from so many athletes, particularly Carmelo Anthony, who had a pretty poignant Instagram post about the need for athletes, particularly young black athletes, to unite and to rally and to help facilitate change. I'm curious, and I imagine our listeners would really love to know this. I know that football is your job, but when you're in the locker room, when you're done messing around and you're done talking about what guys talk about, trust me, I talk about the same thing with my buddies. How much of those conversations turn to real life and real world matters, the depth and the seriousness? Do you guys really discuss that in detail pretty often or no?
Yeah, a little bit. When you're in the locker room with the guys, you're there for a lot of time, so we get to talk about all kinds of different things that matter. And there's some big issues, in front of us right now. And so we try to communicate with them, figure out, what we can do and what our part is. It's just, it's kind of an unknown. We don't really know how to approach it the right way. So we could discuss it all the time in the locker room and try to figure out, how we can do our part to make a difference. There are a lot of guys in the locker room are good quality guys, so we all kind of, we have our, our vision, our passion, things we want to do outside of football. The hard part though is, just figuring out how to do it properly and still get our job done. Because football is number one for us when we're in the locker room. So, but it's definitely one of those things where it's just an interesting subject. Something that is going to continue to we're going to have to continue to work on. figure out who can make a difference.
No, I'm with you. And I can only relate, even though I wasn't a pro athlete, when I was 21, 22, I mean, what you think about, quite frankly, what you care about is radically different from what you care about as when you get married, if you do, when you have children, if you're lucky enough to do that or you want to do that. Do you notice that, because you've been around, what is this, eighth or ninth year? You've been around a while now, that when the youngsters, the 22-year-old kids come in, do you sense that they have a better understanding of the world maybe than you and I and Teak and everybody? It was a different world back then. Do you sense like the younger kids are more savvy and maybe even more frightened of what the world's turning into?
Yeah, I mean, this is an information age where information is easy to get. You can get information pretty easy, and when you look at it that way, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
These kids come in with so much more information than we did when I was a kid, and even then, I mean, I'm not that old. I mean, going to my ninth year, I had a lot of information as well, but now it's just, free information, easy to get your hands on, and, I'm kind of impressed by the youth this day and age because a lot of the youth come in, very savvy and, understanding a lot. Robert Kamdichi, he's a philosophical mind, so we've had some interesting conversations over the last couple of weeks, and, I got a lot of respect for him. I hope that just translates to the football field because I know he's a physical specimen. He's just a natural talent. So, I try to really work with the younger guys, though, and understanding the big picture and making sure they understand that, we have a real opportunity to win. It only comes so often.
Calais Campbell, the Cardinals, with us here on Tiki and Tierney.
Now, watching a little bit of this documentary, just watching the beginning of it, All or Nothing, it talks about, obviously, your season, but also how it ended. You guys got to the NFC Championship, lose to the eventual NFC champions, the Panthers. What's the encore for this team? How do you take what you did last year, which was pretty astounding, especially the comeback?
Got to win the title, man.
Last-second comeback
Gotta
versus
win.
the Green Bay Packers by Larry Fitzgerald. It was an unbelievable play. How do you take the step? Because it's hard to do that in the NFL. And do you feel like the window closes the more steps you don't take?
Well, I mean, that window does close quick. I remember back when I was young and I was a rookie, we went to the Super Bowl, and the next year we were pretty good, but we didn't win it, and that window closed real quick, and then, we were 5-11 and 8-8, and now we are back in that situation where we have an opportunity again, and, we know that I understand the window's small, so we have to capitalize, and, this opportunity we got in front of us this year, I feel like we have another good opportunity, another chance to really, to make a run for it, and, I ain't going to take it lightly because I know how hard it is for it to come back again. So, but right now in this day and age, we have a real opportunity, and you just got to take care of the small things. Really, Tiki, you can give me some advice, man. I know you got a ring, man, so you tell me.
Yeah, no, I didn't. No, I left before. My brother got a ring. I left before they went. I was at that Super Bowl that you guys were at too, and you guys lost. That was against why am I forgetting?
Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers, which was a great game.
Still don't know if Holmes caught that ball, by the way, if that makes you feel better, which it probably doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think his back foot was there. I think his back foot was on his other foot, not on the ground.
Maybe. Hey, good chatting with you. I know you got to bounce. Calais, Campbell, Cardinals, one of the teams to beat for sure. Nice chat. Have a good start to camp. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Yeah, man. Good luck.
Thanks for having me. Take it easy.